The ballroom shimmered with wealth, power, and privilege, every detail polished to perfection. But beneath the chandeliers, a storm was about to break. A billionaire heir, adored by high society, stood firm. He would not dance with anyone. Not until someone no one expected walked through those golden doors. She wasn't a guest. She wasn't even supposed to be there. She was a janitor, holding her daughter's hand, unaware that in moments, her hidden past would shatter the room's silence. What happened next shocked the world. It was the grand night of the Hamilton Foundation Charity Gala, a spectacle reserved for Los Angeles's wealthiest elite. Inside the Crystal Palace Hotel, every detail gleamed. Gowns worth more than cars, jewels flashing under chandeliers, champagne flowing like water. For those in attendance, it was a world where status and privilege were everything. But only a few floors below, another life existed in the shadows. Selena Brooks, a 31-year-old janitor, had just finished her shift. Her world was nothing like the glittering ball above. Her days were filled with long hours of scrubbing floors and clearing away the mess others left behind. Yet despite the fatigue, she carried a quiet strength. For Selena, everything she did was for her daughter, Lila. At just 9 years old, Lila was her entire world, the reason she kept going no matter how hard things got. That night, Lila had begged her mother to return for a forgotten doll, left behind in the dressing room earlier. Selena gave in, thinking it would be quick, unnoticed. But stepping into the wrong place at the wrong time would change everything. Because when Selena entered that glittering ballroom, holding Lila's small hand, the line between the powerful and the powerless would be exposed. She was about to come face to face with a world that had long tried to silence people like her. And what unfolded that night would reveal a truth far deeper than anyone inside those walls was ready to face. The gala was in full swing when the first ripple of unease spread across the ballroom. Selena and Lila had barely stepped past the doorway when the music faltered. Whispers darted through the air like sparks. Confusion, disdain, disbelief. What were they doing here? Evelyn Hamilton, the matriarch whose name carried weight across the city, turned sharply. Her eyes locked on Selena, and her face hardened. With a voice that sliced through the chatter, she declared that they did not belong, that this event was for people who could afford a $50,000 ticket. Security moved instantly, rushing toward them as if they were intruders rather than two tired souls searching for a child's lost doll. Guests leaned in closer, their voices dripping with cruelty. Selena felt the sting of every glance, every whispered word about her uniform, her skin, her presence in a place reserved for the powerful. And then, amid that sea of judgment, it was not Selena who spoke, but Lila. Her daughter clutched the doll and looked up with wide, tearful eyes. "Why are you being so mean to my mom? She works really hard to take care of me." The ballroom fell silent. For a moment, even the music died. What could have been brushed aside as just another act of exclusion suddenly felt different, raw, exposed, undeniable. A child's voice had cracked the mask of civility. But instead of softening, Evelyn's fury deepened. Her grip tightened on her son Nathaniel's arm as if to anchor him in her world of rules and appearances. Yet Nathaniel, the heir to everything, stepped forward. He ignored the gasps, the whispers, the weight of expectation, and extended his hand to Selena. He asked her to dance. The room erupted in shock. The most sought-after bachelor in Los Angeles had chosen the maid, the woman Evelyn had just shamed, to stand at his side. As the orchestra struck up again, Selena hesitated, every eye on her. But then she moved, and when she did, the air itself seemed to change. Her body carried a grace no one expected, every turn and gesture painting a picture of elegance that rivaled any performer on the world's grandest stages. The guests, who moments earlier saw only a janitor, now watched as if a star had been born before their eyes. And then, from the edge of the crowd, a familiar voice rose. Philip Warren, one of the city's most renowned dance critics, stepped closer. His eyes were wide with disbelief as he whispered what many could now see. The style, the precision, the artistry. It was not learned in passing. It was the mark of the Royal Conservatory of London. He named her Serena Donovan, a dancer once destined for greatness, a prodigy the world had mourned as lost in a car crash years ago. The revelation hit the room like thunder. Shock gave way to confusion, and confusion to suspicion. Why was she here working as a maid? Why had she disappeared? Selena stood at the center of the storm, her secret exposed, her past alive again in the eyes of strangers. And as Evelyn's composure cracked, the truth that had been buried for 14 years began to claw its way back into the light. The night was no longer about a forgotten doll. It was about to become a reckoning. The revelation of Selena's true identity should have been a moment of triumph, proof that she was far more than the uniform on her back. But for Evelyn Hamilton, it was war. Within hours, whispers from the ballroom became headlines. Selena was painted as an opportunist, a fraud who had faked her own death to chase money and attention. Articles appeared overnight, claiming she had deceived Nathaniel and manipulated the gala for her own gain. Selena knew the source of the smear. She had lived with Evelyn's shadow for years, the same woman who had orchestrated her downfall as a young ballerina. At just 21, Selena had been on the edge of stardom. Then came the fabricated photos, the drug rumors, the sponsors who abandoned her. One by one, doors slammed shut until the girl hailed as the future of ballet disappeared into silence. Evelyn had destroyed her once. Now she was trying again. But this time, Selena wasn't alone. For years, she had quietly gathered proof. Emails, bank transfers, even recordings of Evelyn speaking the truth no one dared to say aloud. People like her need to be reminded of their place. The words were poison, and now they were about to be heard by the world. The Los Angeles Times broke the story. Instead of Selena's ruin, the spotlight turned on Evelyn. Social media exploded. Hashtag Justice for Serena trended across continents. Clips of her dance at the gala went viral, her elegance side by side with Evelyn's venom. Sponsors cut ties, museums erased the Hamilton name, and friends vanished overnight. For Evelyn, it was the collapse of an empire. For Selena, it was the moment she had waited 14 years to face. The woman who once stood in the shadows as a janitor was now a symbol, not just of talent lost and found, but of every voice silenced by power and prejudice. And as Evelyn's influence crumbled, Selena stood taller than she ever had before. The reckoning had begun. When the dust finally settled, the Hamilton name was no longer spoken with reverence. It was whispered with shame. Evelyn, once the queen of Los Angeles high society, found herself abandoned. Her empire crumbled, her allies disappeared, and the same society she had ruled turned its back. For the first time, her power was gone. But Serena Donovan rose from the ruins. The dance that once marked her destruction now became the symbol of her rebirth. With donations pouring in from around the world, she opened the Donovan Academy of Ballet, a place where every child, no matter their background, their skin color, or their story, could dream without fear of being silenced. And in the very first recital, her daughter Lila stood proudly on stage, proof that hope was stronger than hate. Daniel Reyes, the journalist who helped uncover Evelyn's crimes, published a best-selling book documenting not just Selena's fight, but the lives of countless women of color crushed by the same system of prejudice and power. Selena's story was no longer just hers. It became a voice for those who had none. Yet the lesson reached far beyond one ballroom, one family, one scandal. It exposed a truth society still struggles with, that racism doesn't always shout. It whispers in boardrooms, in galleries, in opportunities stolen before they can bloom. Selena's victory was not just about justice. It was about creating a future where no young girl would be told her place, and no artist's light would be dimmed because of the color of her skin. Her story asks us all, how many dreams have we allowed to be stolen in silence? And more importantly, how many more will we let slip away before we finally decide enough is enough? What do you think? Was Selena's victory just about exposing Evelyn, or was it about proving that no dream can ever truly be silenced? If the story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories that deserve to be heard.